I want to talk a little bit about the abortion piece because you're right.
Please.
That is the way that they came in. But originally, 1973, when, in the first 6 or 7 months after the Roe decision, the church had nothing to say about abortion. The church really didn't weigh in on abortion in
That's
general.
right.
It wasn't something they cared about at all
Oh, yeah.
until a political strategist said, hey, we should probably do this instead of fighting to maintain segregation.
I mean, it took a long while, right? Like when I first met Jerry Falwell, Joy, I was in my 20s. I debated him on Bill Maher. I didn't know he had been a segregationist who opened up whites only schools. The news never told me. The news just told me he was a Christian leader. And in the 70s, these guys were reeling from losing on civil rights, losing on voting rights, Nixon's resignation. They were lost in the wilderness. And you're right. The most controversial thing about Roe v. Wade was how not controversial it was. The Southern Baptists voted to affirm abortion rights a year after. That was a Catholic thing, they said. Falwell never mentioned abortion until 5 years after Roe v. Wade. Their big issue back then was the fact that Jimmy Carter was trying to take tax-exempt status away from colleges and universities that were still practicing racial segregation in the 70s. If you look at Reagan's campaign speeches in 1980, he mentions Jimmy Carter's IRS with more outrage than abortion. They were still fighting for segregation back then. But after Reagan was sworn in, they realized this was the issue that was going to work. Reagan, who had been signed the most liberal abortion law in California history, became staunchly anti-abortion. George H.W. Bush Sr. overnight went from supporting women's reproductive freedoms to the next day, big pro-life, to be Reagan's running mate. It has destroyed our politics and it destroyed our Christianity since then. And abortion and criminalizing it has nothing to do with the teachings of Jesus. Government forcing citizens to be pregnant against their will, not in the Bible. God asserts a fetus is property in Exodus and that a woman's life has more value in his eye. Exodus chapter 21. Abortions are legal and free in Israel right now because Jesus' religion never banned them. And most right-wing Christians still don't know this. Jesus opposed the death penalty, never against abortion. These guys don't even know what they're fighting for. And it's ridiculous that Democrats have ceded the Bible over to these frauds.